4 years old, she said at some point, because at some point it was starting to get a bit difficult, she said, mom and dad, I love you, but usually I don't see you that often. I spend more time with the school. And 4 years old, and she's already starting to complain about the fact that she's spending too much time with us. So yeah, it's high time for a normal life to resume.
When do you think a Formula One race will happen with 50,000 fans?
So we will be starting racing again in July, 5th of July. That will be the first day of the first race in Austria. But to your question about, with people in the grandstand full of people cheering for their heroes, with full of flags, full of everything. It can be up to 120,000 people in a Grand Prix like Silverstone in the UK. I don't know. It may take a while. We are bracing ourselves for a season that will be mostly behind closed doors, with different set of economics, obviously, given the circumstance. But hopefully we will be able to have a very small fan attendance in the course of the summer. Now, I don't have any own prediction, but from looking at the way that the pandemic has been developing and fluctuating and being more in control in Europe, to me, it looks like we may have to wait for a complete cycle, a complete winter, before we find some promoters who are prepared to take the economic risk to set up a race with grandstands, with a full attendance. So that's why the main concern has been to protect the sport, to protect Formula One for next year, when we think that it will be all back to normal.
Well, we play in 31 different countries, and the complexity of it is absolutely gargantuan in terms of figuring out how to work with every respective government. Everything is about your health strategy. Everything is about being as safe as we possibly can. And that's the number one priority, obviously, this year, is playing in a safe environment, safe for our players, safe for our caddies, safe for our broadcasters, and for our staff. And then our entire schedule will be 24 events that culminates with the DP World Tour Championship. And like you, I hope by the time we get to Dubai that we'd love to have 30,000 fans there. But I think if we could have our DP World partners, our Rolex partners, and some of the key sponsors of the European Tour in terms of their VIP hospitality guests, that would be a real win this year. I think it's going to be very difficult for us to get back to the point where we have 30,000 fans on a weekly basis.
We leave the fan on the side. How many people are involved into the organization of a tournament? Because one difficulty that we've had, even if we accept to sacrifice the fan element by virtue of keeping the sport alive, Formula One is still a large gathering of people, because it's 2,000 people. If you take all 10 teams, plus drivers, plus physio, plus all the Formula One and FIA, which is Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, the governing bodies, all the stakeholders of the sport. That's 2,000 people that needs to move from one country to the other country. And you were talking about the predicament of the national authorities. That's been one of the difficulties that we had to face. We are not a small organization, even without fans, without sponsors, even without media. We are already a large gathering of people. So I don't know how you've been dealing on your side. On our side, we indeed are preparing ourselves for very strict, very drastic guidelines on the back to racing. We will have to take a number of tests every 5 days. We will have to repeat those tests. There will be obviously some protective equipment that we will have to wear in the premises of a garage. I mean, if you think of a racing car preparing itself to go for qualifying run, of the driver, at least the driver is wearing an helmet and gloves. So that's at least that. But if you're thinking about the social distancing that can't be kept, that can't be respected in that context, that has been a challenge. But thankfully, we've had a very good work and very good dialogue with the WHO, so that racing can resume, and that's what's going to happen. But I was curious to see how it works on your side with the large gathering of people that you need to have to organize an event.
Behind closed doors for us is caddies, players, staff, broadcasters, and we've gotten it down to just under 500. And for the UK events, we've created a bubble. So the hotels, before you, as you get off the plane, you've had to have a test, you've had to have a PCR test before you get there. You get to the hotels, it's really a medical test facility. That's what I'm calling the hotels. We're all together in the UK, so you're not allowed to leave that bubble. Then all the testing then again happens at the golf course. We have labs that are standing by. We've created a real medical health truck that will double as a lab. So for us, you're going to have thermal imaging. You're going to have all of those, all the symptom tests. But it is something that we have spent a tremendous amount of time on. And like I said, you know, our chief medical officer is someone I now talk to daily, and I used to talk to him periodically. So 500 is our behind closed doors. But I always say, and I think one of the challenges in this time for us, and we always say that one of the biggest advantages that we have is the fact we play in 31 different countries. And from a partner's perspective, and a global partner, that is absolutely fantastic. At this particular time, it's our biggest challenge.
It's a big challenge, yeah.
There is no doubt. You're dealing with so many different governments, different rules and regulations. Yeah. When you look at DP World, which is our end of the year event, we had to change the date because of the Masters in Augusta came into a date right around the DP World Tour Championship in November. So we usually end our end of the season with the DP World Tour Championship in November. We had to go to DP World and say, listen, you know, the global calendar is changing. You know, can we be flexible? Can we move things around? And again, they, like Rolex, said, yeah, we're here, we're your partners. We understand these are different times. How can we help? And how can we really be the supportive partner that you need at this particular time? I don't know about you, but the job changed overnight, and we went from a growth business to a momentum business to we were just going like this to whoa, oh, what do we do? You know, all of a sudden it just changed overnight, and I think for me it's been the most trying, the most challenging time, but how you approach it has been absolutely critical. And so how have you felt?
There is. I mean, I completely echo what you said about challenges that we were absolutely not prepared to face, and we have all reacted with our guts. You know, it's completely uncharted territory. It's not. We've not been prepared to this circumstance at school or by the experience of life. But there is one thing that I have actually enjoyed in the time of this very difficult crisis, is the fact that there was absolutely everyone was extremely open and transparent about the difficulties that they were facing. And in a world where sometimes people keep their cards close to their chest, for once everyone opened themselves. And I think that we've been able to accomplish an awful lot with partners, with staff, with suppliers, simply because the situation was commanding a business behavior, a business ethos completely different to what happened normally. And to a certain degree, frankly, I think I found certain things much more healthy, much more direct, much more transparent. And we've been able to cope with the circumstance, with the situation, with the challenge, thanks to the openness. And that's what I liked about this situation, that there was something bigger than all of us, in which we were all, part of. And we've done so much. And I would like, some people are starting to think about what we would like, how we would like the world to change after that.
I've always said that if you if you're not prepared to change, and change, let's be honest, is very, very difficult. I often talk about there was an article written in the Harvard Business School back in 2012 that said less than 10% of people that that have a heart attack make a major change to their diet. And then it says change is hard. And change is hard. And this has forced change. And it's forced us to look at so many different ways of our business, not only how you operate it now, but how you're going to take it going forward. And I think if you look at it, this has been the most massive challenge I've ever had in 35 years. Every single day, you were getting knocked down, knocked down, knocked down, another tournament canceled, more revenue loss. And every single day, you could get more and more negative if you wanted to. And for me, it was, how do you come right out? How do you go up and down the roller coaster? Because that's really what it is on a daily basis. And how do you end every day at the top of the roller coaster? And it really came down to, for me, is thinking outside of the box, but more importantly, getting our staff and seeing some of the young leaders just rise to the occasion and watching them get almost energized by the challenge and looking at it as an opportunity as opposed to a challenge. And that was incredibly rewarding.
How about you? Have you enjoyed to a certain degree your time, in addition to the challenge, obviously?
Yes, I've had a great time. I have a 17-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter, and I don't think they've ever seen me as much for a long period of time. My boy and I are playing golf all the time. I've watched my very first Netflix series. I feel like a real person.
I have a daughter, she's 4 years old, 4 years old.
4
years old only. But the 4 years old, she said at some point, because at some point it was starting to get a bit difficult, she said, mom and dad, I love you, but usually I don't see you that often. I spend more time with the school, and 4 years old, and she's already starting to complain about the fact that she's spending too much time with us. So yeah, it's high time for a normal life to resume. And tell me one thing. How do you think this has affected your players? Have they been able to train and how the new calendar is going to affect their preparation for this new season?
The biggest challenge with all athletes, and what I've said to any athlete that I've chatted to now, is this is a taste of what happens when the music stops. That all of a sudden your entire life is engrossed in competing in your sport at the highest level. But at one point, that's going to end. And that's what it's like.
Well, dealing with the staff, bearing in mind that Formula One operation, it's a large operation, 1,200 people split over 2 countries, different type of culture, different type of background, different type also of skills. It's been all about communication.
I've looked everywhere, but I can't find the COVID-19 crisis playbook because it doesn't exist. So as a result, you need to be as transparent and as honest with people as you possibly can be.
In the context of crisis, people tend to more than ever look at the top and look at what's going on, what the body language is saying. Leadership can be everywhere. Leadership can be distributed. We know we are living in a world that's becoming more and more flat. But at the same time, there is an expectation for very strong guidelines coming from the top. Everyone can have its contribution when it comes to time of being a local leader.
People are looking for the leadership. People are looking for the answers, and we don't always have them. The way that I looked at the leadership during this period is certainly counting on so many different people to bring concepts, ideas, and so I think it was listen, as many people as you possibly can be, and then be decisive. So listen to the industry, listen to what your staff has to say. So you listen, then you evaluate, and then you make a decisive decision. And to be honest with you, some decisions are going to be wrong, and that's okay. You can't be afraid of failing. As I said, there's no crisis playbook during this time. As long as you make one more right decision than wrong decision, you're going to be successful. But you are going to make some wrong decisions, and I'm okay with that. And we've never been through this before, so you don't have all the information. And that's why I think you have to listen as much as you can to anybody, and then make the decision that you think is best for your business. Hey, listen, good luck. Good luck in Austria.
Thank you. Good luck to you. And maybe I'll see you in Abu Dhabi then, if we happen to be on the same weekend and do our own activities. So I'd love to come and say hello, and we'll try to fix something to set up something for you. So let's trade. Let's make
my hands are perspiring just thinking about it. But
good.
great.
Let's do that. Thank you.
Nice to see you.